Vegas, baby fans. I'm back. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I mean, weekends really mean the same anymore? I mean, I've wondered that. I never know what day it is. And so when I get to the weekends, it's like, oh, yeah, it's Saturday. So then I can say, oh, good, then I don't have to do any house chores. It's Saturday and Sunday. No more. But no, I hope you guys are doing well and healthy. And I got a lot of good feedback from Friday's show. It was serious but important because people need to know that it is a serious thing. So we're not going to be serious anymore. Today, I got two more shows on Friends. Today's show is about a couple, special couple of mine, friend. And then later in the week, I'm going to do a show on the friends that I met after Bill had passed away. And when I started my new life, I took about a few months off, 6 7 months off after he passed away because I just had to clear my head. And then I started working, and then we'll talk about that. And then the friends I made post. No, is that right? Post? No, that's not the right word, is it? After Bill, whatever. So, but today, my friends Bob and Chris. Bob and Chris, we have known. I've known. We did. For over 41, 42 years. And we met Bob first. And I met him. I worked at this hardware store called Forest City. And back then, they didn't have Menards, Home Depot, all those big hardware stores where you can get everything. So Forest City, it started in Ohio, and that's where the headquarters were. And there was a few of them in Illinois. And so it was a smaller version of that before the big conglomerates took over. So I worked there. And I worked in the warehouse. I started out just as a pricer. So I priced everything that came into that store and went out on the floor. I put a price tag on it. That's when they still had price tags, the ones the green ones, the little green ones, you know what I'm talking about? So, and then I worked my way up to the first female warehouse manager, and I ran the warehouse. And I worked my butt off, let me tell you. But, anyways, I met Bob. He was the warehouse manager. He hired me, and then he went out to the floor and became sales. And then Bill came and worked there out on the floor in seasonal department, I think. And then Chris came about a year later or so, and she was a checker. So all four of us met our mates at Forest City. Bob met Chris. I met Bill. So I guess it was, and we had some great friends there. Man, the Forest City Grant gang, oh my God, we would work long hours. Sometimes you work 10, 12-hour days. And then we'd go out and we'd go to Gatsby's. And sometimes we'd close that place, go home, get a couple hours sleep, and then go back to work. That was regular. That's when you were young, though, 20, 19, 20 years old, and you had all the energy in the world, right? So the good old days. But we met Bob and Chris there and became very good friends. Bob was in our wedding and Bill was in their wedding. And all the years we spent together, very, very good friends. And I do know in my heart, they live in Illinois, so unfortunately I don't see anymore. But if I needed them, I know that they would be there in a minute for me. So that's the kind of friends I'm talking about when I'm honoring people, because I just know it. They loved Bill, and probably more than me, but no, I'm just kidding. But we had a lot of great times. They ended up having 4 kids, 2 boys, and then twin girls. And they're really the reason why I changed my mind in having a kid. Bill and I had been married over 8 years, and I had told him from the beginning that I didn't want kids. And if he wanted kids, we weren't going to get married. I said, because I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to, And he's like, nope. And he never once brought it up. And then when Chris brought her oldest home, Jason, and I held him, I was like, and I know I mentioned this before. And that night when we were driving home, I said to Bill, I think I want a kid. And he's like, what? And I said, yeah, something happened when I held Jason. And he's like, and of course he goes to pull over. I go, not this minute. He wanted to make one then, that right then and there. But so we ended up then along came Michael about a year and a half later. So that was a good thing. So, but we did so many things together before the kids came along. The biggest thing we did a lot of together was camping. And what's really, really funny about it, when I was starting to think about it, and I remembered this, we would go camping Memorial Day, usually 4th of July, and then sometimes Labor Day. We always went on the holidays. And damn it, if it didn't rain every single time. It took us several years to realize maybe we should stop going on the holidays and maybe it won't rain. And when we started going on the non holidays is when it stopped raining on us. But I got to tell you, there was a few times. One time we went camping and Bill and I had just bought this new screened in porch so we would have it, so you could, screened in porch with the canvas roof with the screens and then, keeps kind of the mosquitoes out for the most part. But if it's raining, you can sit in it. So the four of us get up to where we were. I think we went to Indiana Dunes that year. And of course it was raining the whole way there. And we get there, we went after work on a Friday night and it was dark by the time we got there. It was pretty dark because it was raining and it stopped raining for a little bit. So we got the tents up. We're like, yes. And then it started raining again, and it was lightning now. And we're putting this screened in porch up with metal rods. And we're standing there and we're laughing. The beers were flowing. And we're like, the lightning's striking. We're like, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Needless to say, we did it. We got wet, we did it. And then we went into the screened in porch. And it didn't always rain the entire weekend. Sometimes it did. But most of the time, it rained like one day and then it didn't. And we had so much fun, doing that. So that camping trip was a good one. I don't think it rained the whole weekend. And then there was another time we went up, and I can't remember what holiday it was. We went to a new campsite we had never been to. And we get up there and it was supposed to rain that night and we're like, God, it hadn't rained yet. It was cloudy and we set up our site. We had this great site and Bill and Bob had this great idea. They're like, it was supposed to rain heavy and we were kind of like in a little bit of a hilly area. So they went and went all the way around the campsite and dug trench all the way around. They're like, it's not going to flood our campsite. Let it rain. So Bill and Bob were so proud of themselves. The beers were crack open. We were like, yeah. And we were sitting down, chilling out, getting ready, and we're like, okay, rain, we ain't afraid of you now. And the forest ranger comes up and he gets out of his car and he comes up, he goes, what is that? And at the trench all the way around the campsite. And we're like, it's a trench. We built it because you can't do that. We're like, well, what do you mean? He goes, you can't do that. You got to fill that in. We're like, well, can't we fill it in when we leave? And he's like, no, you got to fill it in now. So he made the guys fill it all the way back in, right? I'm right about that, Bob. Remember that? So that was like, oh, great. And I believe it rained that entire weekend. But we always gutted it out. You know what? We never left. We always stayed because we always brought great food. We would grill. We would make eggs in the morning on our stove because we had all the stuff, lantern, stove, coolers, you name it. And one time, speaking of cooler, we went to some place and they told us when we pulled in, it was another new place. They said, listen, the raccoons get into stuff. So make sure when you go to bed, your garbage is all closed up and everything's closed up because they're going to get into it. We're like, no problem. So we're sitting there around the fire and we're laughing about this and that. And it was getting close. And we were making sure all the garbage bags were closed up and put them on the table and do everything else like that. And they said something like, well, and one of them, somebody said, make sure we lock the coolers. I'm like, there's no way a raccoon is going to open the cooler and get into it. If he does that, I'm going to shake his hand. I've got such a big mouth. So the next morning, we get up, and Chris is like, we got to find a raccoon. And I said, why? She goes, because you need to shake his hand. We opened up the cooler. They got into the cooler and got into the eggs. Fuckers. But it was funny. We did laugh. Oh, my God. But they didn't get into the Oreo cookies. Those were safe away. Which really, eggs, Oreo cookies. What are you thinking? I'm thinking save the Oreo cookies. So really, we were okay, but that was pretty funny. But we really had a lot of good times camping. Bob and Chris, we just spent so much time with them. Just a lot of times doing nothing, just chilling out, maybe watching TV, having a couple beers, just going over to each other's house for dinner. Played a lot of poker. Um, we would have poker games with our friend called Big Jim. God, I miss that guy. I would love to know whatever happened to him. And actually, one time we went to a baseball game, the five of us, Bob, Chris, Bill, and I, and Big Jim. And I remember it was a Sox game. It was really hot, and we went. We got free tickets, and we were right up front. We were right by the dugout, the Sox dugout. Somebody got the free tickets, and we went and we had had a few cocktails, and probably the most sober one drove back to the suburbs. And for some reason, we thought it would be a good idea to drive through a car wash backwards. Have another cocktail. Yeah, let's drive through the car wash backwards. For the life of me, I don't. This one's got to be in Bob and Chris. I do remember we sat there for a while and we laughed about it and we wanted to do it, but I don't know if we actually ever did it. That's one thing I've told Michael and I've talked about it. He goes, "You drove backwards through a car wash, like late at night?" And I said, "Well, we tried to. I just can't remember if we actually succeeded." So why don't one of you two write a note on after this show in the comments section in YouTube and tell me, did we actually do it? But I mean, it was silly stuff like that. We did stuff like that. I mean, we just, I'm trying to look at my notes to make sure I've read everything. I mean, I changed my mind. The weddings. Oh, yeah, this is a good one. One night we were partying, and for some reason, it was a Friday night. For some reason, I don't know how we got on this conversation, but all of a sudden we decided, wouldn't it be fun to fly somewhere and just party on the plane? Stay the night and fly back somewhere cheap. So we were gonna get on the phone and fly, see how much it cost to fly to Detroit. What? Why were we gonna get on a plane at like 10 o'clock at night? Well, it would have been later than that. Fly to Detroit and come back the next day. All to party? That's, yeah, because again, the beers were flowing, and thank God Chris was like, "That's not happening. Give me the phone." This is when there wasn't cell phones. "Give me that damn phone and give me the phone book." That all went away. She hid it. She's like, "We're not flying anywhere." I know that Bob and I'm not sure about Bill, but I know when Bob and I were putting our shoes on, we were getting ready to go. But don't ask me why we wanted to do that, but damn, we wanted to. We just laughed a lot. I mean, I can't even say it. I mean, we really, really did. They were just really good people. And again, we've known them, like I said, before we were all married, and that's how we all met our mates. And then, as years go on, they have kids. We did go to Door County one year up in Wisconsin. We rented this house, and Chris was pregnant with the twins, so they had the boys. We went with my sister, and Tom and Bob and Chris, and we just had a great time. Went up for a week, and Bill. That's when Bill named all four of the kids. He gave them nicknames. Jason, the Mason, that's their oldest. Justin, Dustin, that's their second oldest. Darren, the Terran, was Kathy's son, and Michael Supercycle is our son. So all four of them had nicknames for the week, and they were all. I know Darren was learning how to ride a bike. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they were all learning, but I remember a lot of that. We just had a great time up there, and it was just big family fun with good friends. I've always felt really comfortable with them, and I just can't say enough. I love them to death. Unfortunately, oh, my microphone just fell down. Unfortunately, once the kids started coming, we kind of drifted a little bit. But the nice thing about Bob and Chris is when we got together, it was like we were never apart. So it wasn't hard. Sometimes it is when you don't see some friends and then you get to back together. It wasn't. It was just good fun. Um, and we always just, and they adored Bill and would have done anything for them. So I just wanted to give the shout out to them. I love them. There was something else. Well, there's a million. See, this is the thing about my friends. Like when I did my 3 girlfriends last week, there's a lot of stories, but most of them I can't tell on the air because there's usually something bad involved. So, with Bob and Korea, same, but it was really, we just spent a lot of good time together and laughing. So I appreciate you guys. I love you. Um, the card games are always fun. What else? Okay, so I gotta get my microphone here. Sorry, my microphone fell down. Oh my god, that's not having a good day. You know what? I really haven't been. Life. I broke my glasses, so now I'm one of those dorks that's got tape on it because I tried to get a appointment and they're like, oh, June. I'm like, June? So now I'm going to try to crazy glue them and see if that works. I don't know if it will, but I'm going to try. So yeah, my glasses are broken. Um, it was Friday. Oh my God, I went to the bank. I come out after waiting a half hour to get into the bank with the mask on outside. Finally get in. I come out. Some asshole parked literally 1 inch next to my car. I could not get in through the driver's side. I was going to go back into the bank, and I thought, no, don't do it. So I had to crawl over. So last couple days, and then this and that was happening. You name it, it happened. It just was not a good week last week. So this is going to be a better week because I started out talking about good friends. And they have, like I said, 4 great kids now. And they have a grandchild on the way, their first grandchild. So I'm sure they are so excited. They've been married forever. Um, their wedding was crazy fun. Yeah, the one thing about their wedding was so Bill was in the wedding. I was hanging around with our friend who we called Big Jim, I just adored. The problem that day was there was a reason we called him Big Jim. He was a big dude, and he could drink. I swear to God, when he would come over to our house and play cards, he'd bring a case of beer with him. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. And he would do a lot. He'd do a lot of damage to that case of beer. Um, and so him and I were hanging out like between the wedding and the reception. That was a huge mistake because I had a wooden leg. I could drink. I said that to my son. Now you don't, you have your drinking ability is your father's side because he can't hold his liquor. I said, don't ever try to keep up with me. But I'll tell you that day, I was trying to keep up with Jim. Huge mistake because after some point I was pretty lit and Chris, I remember saying, you hugged me so many times you got your makeup all over my wedding dress on my sleeve. Of course, that's why I wore makeup. I don't need makeup anymore because look at this. Would you want to cover this up with makeup? No. I'm hot, man. Shit. But yeah, Chris said that. She's like, yeah, I looked at my wedding dress. She's like, that's from Lynn. She was hugging me. I told you before last week. I was a lover. Oh, I love you. And I must have said that a few hundred times to her that day. But I love you two so much. And I'm going to do, of course, I'm going to do a song for you. Uh-oh. Where's my, uh-oh. I'm missing something. Uh-oh, there it is. I found it. You're like, okay, whatever, Lynn. All right. So we're going to sing a song. Got to sing a song. Got to end my show on a good note. So, oh no, I'm going to do this. All right, are you ready? A 1, a 2, a 3, and a 4. What would you do if you think? What would you do? All right. You know what? I know this song by heart. Again, I don't have the music. I need to learn how to get the music to play, and then I could sing the songs because there's so many songs I know by heart, but because I don't hear the music, so I'm sorry. What would you think if I sang out of tune? Would you stand up and walk out on me? Lend me your ears and I'll sing you a song, and I'll try not to sing out of key. What would you do when your love is away? Don't worry, you won't be alone. How do you feel by the end of the day? Are you sad because you're on your own? Oh shit, yes. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get high with a little help from my friends. Oh, I can try with a little help from my friends. What you need any Do you need anybody? I need someone to love. Could it be anybody? I just want somebody to love. Would you believe in your love at your first sight? Yes, I'm certain it happens all the time. Not to me. What would you do when you turn out the light? I can't tell you 'cause I know it's mine. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Ooh, I get high with a little help from my friends. Ooh, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Do you need anybody? I just need someone to love. Could it be anybody? I want somebody to love. I want somebody to love me. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get high with a little help from my friends. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. Do you need anybody? I just need someone to love. Could it be anybody? Anybody but Jeff Bridges. Oh, I get by with a little help from my friends. I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. I'm gonna get high with a little help from my friends. With a little help, with a little help, with a little help from my friends. Do you need anybody? I want somebody to love. Could it be anybody? I just want someone to love. I get by with a little help from my friends. I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends. I'm gonna get high with a little help from my friends. Oh, with a little help, Bob and Chris from my friends. Wow, what an ending. Oh, that was freaking funny. All right, tomorrow I've got guests, 2 of them. Yep. I got this email the other day and I was just like, what? You want to come on my show? And he's like, yeah, and I'm bringing a friend. You know, we can kind of move around. And he says, I promise I'll come germ free. And I'm like, all right. So make sure you tune in tomorrow because you don't know who's going to be here. Now, listen, I love you guys. I wasn't on the show on a good note. So love one another. I know it's tough out there. I know times, even though, you know, I don't know. I was talking to somebody the other day. There's no winners in this situation. No matter what you think of what's going on out there, you believe it, you don't. Political, you don't. There's no winners here. There is no winners. No one's going to win at the end of this day. And what really is sad is that we're not getting any truths. And that's what I was telling somebody today scares me. I want life to go back to normal. And I know it's going to be a long time before it does. So let's just stick together. Remember to laugh, to remember to love. Laughter is, I had a rough week last week, and the other thing is music. Oh man, I sat and rock and roll all day Saturday, and it helped so much. So I love you. Remember to help somebody out if you're out and about wearing your masks and they need help. Help them. Don't be afraid. I know times are tough, but help people. We still need to rely on each other, just like I rely on my great friends like Bob and Chris. And guys, I love you. And I don't know when I'll see them again. Might not be till my son's wedding next year, but it don't matter because they're awesome. And there's nobody that loves to tell a joke, a pun joke, more than Bob. Man, you got that pun nailed, my friend. So I'll see you guys tomorrow on the Vegas Baby Show starring me. When? Yeah. Okay. Keep on rocking and rolling.